so often I think about the fact that like 20 years ago, people grew up without mobile phones. Like my parents didn't grow up with mobile phones, but nowadays if I go into a bus and I see like every elementary school kid just looking down at these devices, it makes me really wonder like how quickly times are changing. And in a way, like I'm a product of that time because I got my first mobile phone when I was in fifth grade, I think. Well, at that time you couldn't even call it smartphone though, because it was more like this thing with the buttons. There was plenty to do with that thing though, at that time, and I remember it being very special or a very hype moment when somebody got like a new phone or you got a new phone. And I don't know. But it's so weird, right? Like my grandparents didn't grow up with mobile phones. My grandparents didn't know what a mobile phone was until they were 50. When I'm 50, what's going to be there that's going to change the world, that's going to have everybody looking like this or somewhere? Like when I'm in the Tokyo metro in the morning and I see like people commuting to work or school, like 99% of people are standing there like this. 99%. That's like a whole lot of human population that's standing there like this most of the day. Isn't that kind of scary? Like, I don't think humans like 100 years ago were standing like this all day looking at a phone. I feel like we're in this weird human experiment phase where, well, we'll see what'll happen to a generation that grows up like that. Because, well, there has been no generation yet who grew up like that. So we're the first, and we will see how it changes us and humanity as a whole, I guess. To even more confuse the topic today, by the way, hey, I'm Hani. Welcome to the podcast. I am in my early 20s and I feel lost most of the time. But I think that's a universal feeling. Like, there are so many posts and videos, well, coming back to the smartphone that I can see there, about people who are just like lost or just like don't know what to do, don't know where to go. Like, I'm scared of the future. There's this question that's like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And right now, I couldn't answer that question. I used to be able to answer it actually. When I think back, like when I was a child, I always used to have a plan. Like from when I was 6 years old, I remember going to elementary school and I remember thinking like very clearly, I'm going to this high school and I'm going to take these subjects, which were all language focused, and I'm going to be this and this and this. Like I had this whole plan thought out in my head. And all throughout high school, I was also thinking about the great big plan of where do I want to go, where do I want to be, what do I want my story to be like? I mean, as a human, the only thing that's changing every day is that time goes on and on and on. And the only question is, how do I want to spend my time and how do I make money in this world? Because apparently money is like a limiting factor to how well you can move around in this world or what you can do, what your options are. So of course I was thinking about that in a way, but I always had this very clear vision. I was a very driven person. I was driven by this vision. But I can honestly say that I kind of lost the vision. Like, I'm still driven in a way, but with no goal. And that makes me very sad because I think that way I'm reaching this moment where I'm like, okay, what am I even working for? Like, what is it that I actually want from this life? Or what is it, like, what's the goal? Like, I am in the field of study that I wanted to get in. I got, like, the grades that I wanted, I guess. And I got to Tokyo right now, which was also a big dream of mine for the longest time. So what is the next dream? What do I have left? Not like I reached everything, because by far I feel the least accomplished ever in life. And that's also a problem because I think I'm undermining, of course, also things that I did accomplish. But I feel like in my brain, success is a thing that's not very well defined and I haven't reached it. I feel like society also tells us this picture of what success is supposed to be like. And I feel like I'm running out of time. Like I'm in my early 20s and I don't have this plan that will get me to whatever success is supposed to be, I guess. And here we are again. Welcome to the rambles. To me, not making any sense. I think I should dial it back a bit. In a way, what I'm talking about is what is. No, we're not going there. What is the meaning of life? That is going to be like a bit too far today. But I guess what are your 20s about? What is this time about for me? What do I want? And I guess people always say your 20s are for experimenting. Your 20s are for figuring things out. But how am I supposed to figure things out? Am I supposed to just try them? Am I supposed to just go there and see how it goes? Like, I know that I'm supposed to put myself out there, but what for? Like, what? I don't even know, like, in all the things that I express myself as, like, as an artist as well, I can't see myself having a career in art, to be honest. I don't think I'm talented enough, A, and I don't think I have a vision that even I can support. Like, I wouldn't support my art, and if I'm not supporting myself, then who else is supposed to support me? And unless I find something that I am proud of first or that I want to work for, how are other people ever gonna make me work for that or pay me for that or like whatever my service is gonna be in the future, I guess? I think people are universally feeling lost in their 20s, and I think that also comes back around here to this thing because we're now able to compare ourselves to many more people than we ever could have before in a time in future. Like when my parents or my grandparents grew up, they could compare themselves to the other people from their village or the other people from their city or the neighborhood, what they were doing. Oh, what is Mrs. So and so's son doing? Oh, he's working with in his father's business. Oh, Mrs. So and so's son's very the special version. He went actually abroad, like to the next city to work as a banker. Could you have imagined that? Like, we neither. Like, that kind of thing, you know? You were only in a small bubble. And now what I'm seeing here is the biggest success stories because those are the ones that make it to the forefront of social media, to the forefront of the internet, and that are being shown and fed to us every single day. The biggest success stories, and I guess in a way, I want that. I want to be successful. And that's a one that I don't think I had from birth, actually. That's a one that I think I got because I now know what it is about. I know that having a lot of money and being successful in a career is going to open up opportunities like travel, or you're gonna have a little less of an easier life. You don't have to think about expenses so much. You can choose where you want to live and you have more choices. And I think that's what it's about for me. I want a life where I can choose what I want. And that's a very weird way to think about it, because in a way, then I'm basing my live stream on pleasures that I want to achieve. Like, I just want the simplest way to achieve things that I just want to have. I've been thinking about this because I'm getting back a bit more into minimalism because I've been spending my money on things that I didn't touch again. And I saw this video that was like, well, you can't buy, yeah, well, like you can buy things and temporary happiness, but unless they give you value each and every day, are they really adding to your life? And I don't think like half of my closet is giving me value every single day. There's certain pieces that I wear more often and that I love, and there are certain pieces that I don't wear more often and I like don't love as much. And I think like my most used object is honestly my computer. That was worth every single fucking penny that I spent on it, and I spent way too much money on it. But I use it every day, so I guess it's a valuable purchase in a way. But I'm thinking about this because then if I want money to make these purchases that add value to my life, what are they and what kind of value do they add? Because it's just temporarily being like, oh, yes, this is nice. Then I'm just jumping from the first, oh, this is nice, to the next, oh, this is nice. Like, it's just like maybe like even just a dopamine addiction where you want the next thing to feel good for a little bit and it doesn't really add like an overall meaning to your life though. And that's not saying that any object can probably add an overall meaning to your life, because honestly, they can't. What can add meaning to your life is like your purpose and people in your life in a way. And that adds me to like the next thing that is also a big struggle in my 20s. How do you find the people in your life that are gonna stay with you for life? I feel like I'm very blessed in that way because I think I have a great family and I'm most grateful for that. And I'm also most grateful for the friends I made during my school years because they are still staying with me, and I can honestly say that I will be friends with them for like as long as I live. I'm very grateful for all the friends that I've made so far because I think I have a lot of very great people in my life. And if you're watching this right now, just shout out to you. I love you. But also, in a way, I haven't had any romantic experiences yet. I'm not I'm not focused on romance. I always like said to other people like, "Ooh, I don't care about romance." And honestly, yes, I don't think about romance like 90% of the time. But then there's just like 10% in the back of my head, like now the Christmas coming up, that's like wondering how would it be like to actually have that special someone who you can share everything with. Like that special someone that's just meant for you, like in the movies, like it's shown online, how people are just made for each other in a way. And I wonder if there's somebody out there who's just like made for me. And maybe I have too high expectations, or I haven't been looking, like both of these probably also true. But it's a thing like I'm 22 right now. My grandma already had a child and a husband at that age. How crazy is that? Like, I know times are changing, but like changing that much that like you can talk to your grandmas and they were so much not further ahead in life, but they had such a different life at that point in time. And here I am complaining about that I don't know what to do, and I'm like, quarter life crisis. What is the meaning of life or my life? Like, at that point, my grandma was only worried about how she's gonna put food on the table for her family. Those are different worries. It's a different time. I'm just pointing these things out right now because I'm thinking about them. I think honestly, though, I don't want to put the blame on social media because I don't think social media is the root of the problem because I am still the one who's choosing to consume it every day. However, I do think that our world is obviously like children growing up in a world. There's always genetics that play a part in how you're gonna be when you're older, but also your environment is playing a huge role in how you will grow up as a person, how you will be, what your personality will be like. And our environment has changed so much in these past 20 years that no one can honestly predict how people will turn out when they're older, when they're 50, 60, 70, and how our children will react to the life that we have right now in our youth. And I think 22 is still young, of course. Like, I'm not saying, oh, I should have achieved so much more at this point, but I am in a position of luxury where I am studying still, where I even have the luxury to maybe extend my studies. Like, that's a thing that I'm struggling with right now the most. I always had this thing where I was like, I took a gap year after school actually. I was like, I want to see who I am. I don't think it helped me see that much about myself, but it honestly taught me a lot about independence. And then after that, I went to study, and I always was like, I'm gonna do this study. I'm not gonna prolong it because I had an 8 semester bachelor course, which is 4 years, and 4 years is a fucking long time. Like most bachelor courses are only like 2 or 3 years. And I was like, I'm gonna do this in those 4 years because if I like prolong it any longer, then it's gonna be like 25 until I have my master and actually start working. And this actually start working was in the back of my head because I was like, my parents were already working and earning money at that point, and I am still like leeching off them. I'm only at this point in my life because I'm depending on other people. And I hate depending on other people. I want to be independent. And right now I'm not. I know it's not a weakness to receive help from others. And I don't think my parents see it as a weakness to me that I'm still like not taking their money, but that I am, of course, that they help me with certain financial things. Oh my god, that makes me really emotional in a way. That's the thing that I struggle with a lot actually, is like receiving so much help from other people because I know that I am very blessed in a way. I know that I have a strong support system, and I know that I have a family that will catch me if anything goes wrong, or if I make a wrong business decision in a way someday, or if I even if I said right now after my studies, well, I want to study something else or I want to do this and this and I'm not going to make money for it sometime, I think my family would support me. And I'm very, very lucky to have that. But at the same time, there's this huge pressure that I put on myself that's like, I know that I have this and I want to make it worth it. How do I make it worth it? Like where is the worth where how can I get there quickly so that I can pay them back for all the things that I got because I'm so fucking grateful. And I know it's not about I have to pay them back, but I want to. Like I want to make it worth it. That I receive all of this and I'm so grateful for it and I want it to be worth it. But right now I'm in a place where I don't know if everything is worth it yet because I can't see a worth in my work yet. And I think that's a me problem that comes from having low self esteem and that comes from not having a clear vision yet because I'm young and I am confused and I'm in a different, like, yeah, because I'm young and I'm confused. And it's okay to be young and confused, but my brain is like telling me it's not okay and I should like do this. There's like I've spent a few days just looking at like job prospects like in the future, like what could I actually do for work, because I always also think like after you finish like studying, how do you even get into the workspace? Do you just take the first job that you like get, but then if it's a job that I don't like, do I have to just keep doing it because that way I only have like a chance to like progress from that job in that company, or do you switch? Like nobody teaches you these things. I feel like there's no, and obviously nobody can teach you these things because everybody has to figure it out on their own, but I feel like that's such a scary thing in your 20s, like figuring out the job market and figuring out where you're going to work and how you're going to make a living, and living that is comfortable at that as well, because of course I don't want to scrape by and like not have any expenses left, because not even for me, like it's never been my dream to have like a villa or something. But my dream is to make enough money to support my family back, because I received all that money from them right now. I want to be there when they are old and when they are not working anymore, and I want to be able then to have let them have a comfortable life, as comfortable as I am living right now. And I know the future is going to get more competitive, and I am so lucky that I got this education, that I can still study, that I'm receiving all of this, but I also am in a place where I recognize, of course, the problems that the future is going to hold, and I want to be in a spot in the future where I can navigate these problems. And I think a lot of you feel like that. And also, a scary thing is, though, that it's so competitive, and that not everybody that's watching right now, or not even me, no one can predict where you will end up in the future. And there's always going to be people who are going to be higher up, and there's always going to be people who are lower. And now I'm tying everything back to money again. And I don't want to tie my money or my worth or my future to something that makes money. Isn't that so crazy? But it all comes down to that in a way. It's so weird. And I always keep telling myself, it's not about the money, it's not about the money, but at the end of the day, somehow it is apparently about the money. And it's very, very sad. I am a privileged white girl, though, and I am also part of the generation that has access to educating yourself further online. And there is a lot of things that will give you guidance in life online. There is a lot of gurus out there. There's a lot of influencers that are telling you this is, oh, so the picture perfect way to live your life. And I don't think any of these have worked out for me yet. And I've tried a bunch, and I've tried like being super healthy. I've tried doing all the sports. I've tried doing none of the sports and being a geek and watching and reading stuff all day. And none of these have led to ultimate happiness yet. I think some of them have become a hobby, and some of them I keep doing sometimes from time to time, but there's no one thing or one lifestyle that I tried yet where I'm like, wow, this is the thing though. And going back to that bad question of where do you see yourself in 10 years, for the longest time I've always seen myself with a family. Like, I think what I want most in life is a family, because I'm so happy that I have one, and I want to have one. I want to have children, I want to have a small house, I want to garden, and I want to have a simple life where I don't have to worry about the money anymore, or like all these things that I keep floating around in my head. Like, I don't think it's going to be that simple though, and I don't think a family is like a fix-it plaster for all of these problems. If anything, it's probably going to add more problems to your life, in a more fulfilling way though, maybe. I don't know. I don't have a family yet. I don't know if I will ever have one, because of the like pace that my romantic endeavors are going, I probably will never have a family. But then again, yes, and that's the comment that's gonna come up, and that's the comment that I realize I'm still young. And it's weird that I'm young and I'm putting all this pressure on myself. But I think it's not only me. And that makes, like, there's a little bit of comfort in knowing that I'm not the only person that feels like that. Like, I really enjoy actually, like, listening to stories about just feeling lost in life, or listening to other people podcasts saying where they're like, oh, I don't even know where I'm gonna be yet. And I think in a way it's a universal experience of adolescence to feel lost for some time. I just wonder when the point will come where I won't feel lost. Or does it ever come? Honestly, it's not a conversation that I have with a lot of people where I'm like, or like a lot of old people, like, have you ever had this point where you haven't felt lost anymore? I don't think I've ever asked my parents that, or like my grandparents. Maybe I should ask them actually. I'll actually write that down to ask like my grandma next time I talk to her. Like, has there ever been a point in your life where you haven't felt lost anymore? Um, I'm not actually a religious person. I am, however, a spiritual person, because I believe that the death isn't the end of it. But I do believe that the death is the end of it for us in this world. And that makes it, like, that belief says that I only have a limited space of time here. I don't know what comes afterwards. I hope there's something afterwards, and I believe there's something afterwards. But I think our time here finishes with this. And I think it's scary. Like, you have to face the fact that you're gonna die one day. And you also have to face the fact that you don't even know when you're gonna die. Like, I could drop dead tomorrow. I could be hit by a truck when I go down to the community. And not jinxing anything, like knock on wood or something. I don't know. But it's a possibility that's always out there. And that means that I have to live every moment as if it were the best and the last in my life. But I'm obviously not always doing that, because life is just life. There's troubles, and there's things that occupy your mind most of the day. And then these past few days, I've just been lying around because I feel like a little bit burnt out, even in a way. Like, I always keep saying that this semester in Tokyo, I've been wondering whether I should prolong it, actually, whether I should stay like a year. And I think I need to make a list of like pros and contrasts, because that's just how my mind works. Because like, there's this saying that you should decide with your stomach or like with your heart in a way over your brain. But I don't think either my heart or my brain can decide this, because they're both so confused. Because let me show you the two sides that go on here. This eternal fight between brain and heart. My brain or my heart says, like, you want time to find yourself. My brain says, well, you're not like doing anything progressive to finding yourself right now. Like, just staying here longer won't find yourself. My heart says, like, you will never get this opportunity again to stay in Tokyo on a visa that you have right now, to stay at this university. You will never get this opportunity again. There's only one opportunity in life. My brain says, there's also only one opportunity in life to finish your bachelor within the semesters that are given, and also then afterwards go on finding maybe something that you're actually passionate about, finding something that you actually want to do. My heart says, well, you have time, you're still young. My brain says, you're actually not that young. Like, lady, you're going to 25, like, pick up the pace if you want to have a master's degree before 25 and start working. My heart says, it's not about the money. My brain says, but do you want to stay in Tokyo just for the fact of staying in Tokyo, or do you actually want to see a family again? Because yes, I also want to see my family again, of course, and I also don't want to stay away from them for so long, because that's lifetime missed, staying with my family. Yes, I'm rambling, but you get what I mean, hopefully. I think ultimately I'll wait and see how things like just progress in life, and I think I need to be more open to other opportunities. Because now I've rambled about all these bad overthinking things, like, what can one person actually do to navigate this, like, what's it called, like, maze of your 20s? Like, how do you navigate this maze? Is there an instruction? Can somebody give me the instruction, please? Because I've lost mine and nobody has given me the instruction so far, and I'm just struggling. I'm struggling a lot. But yeah, I know a lot of people are struggling. I wonder if we're really all gonna have like chips in our head in like 30 years, like chips, like, because right now the mobile phone is the big thing where we're all going like this. Like, I wonder if we're all gonna have chips one day. And isn't that weird? I don't want to be tracked by some chip. That's all another thing that plays into it then. Like, politics, world developments, climate crisis. How is one person supposed to navigate all this? Is there a way? I sometimes watch videos of like monks or like gurus who like really elude the sense of having been there and having it figured out. Like, no, this makes no sense, but do you know these people who actually elude the sense of, yes, here, okay, we figure it out slowly, surely, like these enlightened people in a way. I think that's how religion started. I think there is probably a way to get there, but is there a cheat code for a normal person like me, or do I have to go through monk training? I don't know. I don't like necessarily want there to be a cheat code, because probably there's no cheat code because you have to go through the hardships of life before coming to a point where you can come to terms with it. But I also think that a lot of people never get to that point of enlightenment, like some people do. And is it also going to save all of our problems? In a way, I think our biggest problem as humans is our ego, because that's a thing that will always ultimately ruin humanity and ruin relationships and ruin everything, is like the ego. Because I am so focused on all of the things that are going on in my head, and every single person is like that. We're all just focused on ourselves at the end of the day. Like, because our egos are so big, we will never make it. So I guess, in a way, maybe the root of all courses is just going beyond the ego, or figuring out a way to get out of thinking only with the ego. I will tell you when I find that solution. I haven't found it yet. And I will also tell you if I find a cheat code to your 20s, because I haven't found it yet. Anyway, I think that was enough metaphysical rambling for one episode, and I hope I didn't confuse or drag you down too much. Honestly, I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. I'm just fine. I'm just also thinking, and maybe you are too. So maybe you can leave a comment down below if you ever actually also think about stuff like that, or if it's only me. Maybe I'm actually also the weird one and I should get like therapy or something. Maybe I should. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, like always, thank you. Thank you so much. And as always, also, have a nice day, have a nice night, wherever you are, and find me back on my channel.